I believe few married women are half as much mistress of their husband's house as I am of Hartfield, and never, never could I expect to be so truly beloved and important, so always first and always right in any man's eyes as I am in my father's.
Welcome, everyone, to Artificially Literate. This is where books, films, ideas, well, they all meet deep thought and curiosity.
Exactly. Each time we explore something, maybe a piece of literature, a film, could be a cultural moment, and we really try to break down its meanings, both literal and, philosophical.
Yeah. So whether you just love stories or you're maybe seeking a bit of meaning or maybe you just enjoy a thoughtful takeaway, well, this is your space to reflect, learn, and maybe look at the world just a little bit differently.
And today, today we're embarking on a really fascinating deep dive. We're looking at one of literature's most, I'd say, enduring heroines,
Uh-huh.
and perhaps one of the most delightfully flawed ones, too. Jane Austen's Emma Woodhouse.
Ah, Emma. From that seemingly quiet yet actually incredibly intricate world of Highbury society. That's right. And from there, she attempts to, well, orchestrate the lives of pretty much everyone around her. She's absolutely convinced of her own superior judgment, her unerring intuition.
And what a conviction it is. I mean, she really believes it. But what happens when this self-appointed architect of everyone else's happiness suddenly discovers she's been, well, not just a little bit off, but actually completely blind?
Blind to her own heart, primarily.
Mm.
And maybe even more profoundly, blind to the genuine feelings and, importantly, the true characters of the people around her.
Yeah. So this deep dive, we're going to unpack all of that, the surprising facts, the really deep insights into self-deception, the rigid social structures of the time.
And ultimately, what it tells us about the true meaning of connection, things that surprisingly perhaps resonate really powerfully even today.
Okay, so where do we start? To really get Emma, you have to understand her world, right? Hartfield.
Exactly. We have to start right at the beginning. In that, well, somewhat isolated but also thoroughly self-sufficient world of Hartfield, her family home. Her position there, even from a really young age, it kind of sets the stage for the whole character we meet later.
Right. The book tells us when her governess, Miss Taylor, marries Mr. Weston, a happy event, you'd think Emma feels this. Intellectual solitude.
That's a telling phrase, isn't it? Intellectual solitude. And she's the mistress of the house from, what, age 12?
12. Incredible.
Yeah.
And the text flat out says she's spoiled by being the cleverest of her family. Now, that might sound good on the surface, being the smartest kid on the block.
But Austen immediately shows us the downside. Because she's the cleverest, she finds no equals in Highbury. Remember, the Woodhouses were first in consequence.
So imagine growing up like that. Virtually no one to really challenge your ideas, your assumptions, even just your whims.
It's the perfect breeding ground for unchecked self-assurance, wouldn't you say? Which then easily blossoms into something, well, more problematic, like arrogance.
Definitely. And then there's her father, Mr. Woodhouse. He just adds to it all.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
He's famously described as a valetudinarian. For anyone listening who isn't sure, that basically means someone who's obsessively anxious about their health, always fearing illness, drafts, slightly undercooked mutton.
Ah, yes. And this trait, while it seems maybe just eccentric, it makes him incredibly resistant to any kind of change, especially marriage, because it disrupts his routine. It takes Emma's attention away.
Exactly. Well, it's described as a gentle selfishness, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And this constant need for reassurance means Emma becomes his main companion, his caregiver, really, which just cements her position even further. She's unchallenged.
You can't even really be happy for Miss Taylor getting married because it means she won't be right there for him.
Precisely. It's all about his comfort. So you have this insulated world for Emma, free from real challenge, free from contradiction. It really acts like an echo chamber, doesn't it? An echo chamber of privilege.
It really does. And it makes you think about today,
Yeah.
how easily we can create our own little echo chambers online.
Oh, for sure. You surround yourself with yes men in your social feeds, or you only see news filtered through your existing beliefs.
And you might feel like you're interacting all the time, scrolling, commenting. But are you actually getting that genuine intellectual connection where your ideas are really tested, debated?
It's rare. It can become a kind of modern intellectual solitude, even when we're hyper-connected. Dissenting voices get filtered out, and our own convictions, well, they can get dangerously inflated.
Leading to massive misjudgments, just like Emma.
It's a brilliant commentary on human nature, really. It hasn't changed much in 200 years.
Yeah.
Without that friction of different views, without sometimes being proven wrong, our judgment just doesn't develop properly.
Okay, so speaking of misjudgments, her first big success, The Weston marriage. She's so proud of that one.
Oh, incredibly proud. She claims full credit, sees it as absolute proof of her matchmaking genius. She even says, I made the match myself. I made the match, 4 years ago, and to have it take place and be proved in the right may comfort me for anything.
She genuinely believes she willed it into existence.
She does. But then, almost immediately, you get Mr. Knightley, the voice of reason.
Always Mr. Knightley.
Always. And he gives this immediate, unvarnished pushback. He says, I do not understand what you mean by success. Success supposes endeavor. He challenges her whole premise.
He basically says, were you actually trying to make this happen for 4 years?
Exactly. He cuts right through her self-congratulation and calls it what it probably was, a lucky guess. He highlights her total lack of real effort or any deep understanding of their actual feelings.
It's fascinating, though, how that captures such a common human thing, right? We love to attribute good outcomes to our own skill.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
We conveniently forget the role of chance or luck or, the actual work other people did.
You see it everywhere. In work, someone takes credit for a project that just timed well with the market. Or online, an influencer thinks their strategy was genius when really an algorithm just smiled on them.
Austen, through Knightley, just nails that distinction. Genuine agency versus, just happening to be right by chance. And Emma, bless her, she misses that distinction every single time, at least early on.
Because it feeds her vanity.
Precisely. It's a classic self-serving bias. We want to be the hero of our own story, the cause of good things, acknowledging luck or external factors, much less satisfying for the ego.
So that sets the stage perfectly for her next big project, Harriet Smith.
Ah, yes, Harriet. Emma takes her under her wing as her poor little friend. Harriet's introduced as a parlor boarder, basically a student living at the school, and importantly, of doubtful birth.
Meaning no connections, no status. Very vulnerable in that society.
Extremely vulnerable. And Emma, in her self-proclaimed benevolence, decides Harriet will sink herself forever if she, Emma, doesn't take charge.
And step one of taking charge, dismissing Mr. Martin.
Immediately. And with such bias. He's a respectable farmer, kind, hardworking, but to Emma, his job defines him completely.
How does she describe him? Not handsome, very plain, clownish.
Totally without air. Her prejudice is just blindingly obvious. She says, a young farmer is the very last sort of person to raise my curiosity. The yeomanry are precisely the order of people with whom I feel I can have nothing to do.
Wow. She basically thinks he's illiterate and coarse, even though the book suggests he's perfectly intelligent and decent.
It's purely based on class. And then, just as quickly, she pivots to Mr. Elton, the vicar.
Right, because he's quite the gentleman himself, without low connections, respectable.
Exactly. And in her mind, planning this match is a guaranteed success. She's already basking in the glow of her brilliant idea.
This really gets to the heart of that rigid social ladder back then, doesn't it? Emma's belief in it is so firm.
It's not just a plot point. It's Austen commenting on the whole structure of society. Mr. Martin is judged solely on his status as a farmer, which instantly disqualifies him in Emma's eyes, his actual character. Irrelevant.
And we like to think we're past all that now, with meritocracy and everything.
But are we? Really? Think about the subtle ways class still operates. Maybe it's the school someone went to, their accent, the job title.
Yeah, these things can still unconsciously shape how people are perceived, what opportunities they get, even if nobody says it out loud.
Austen's warning is still so relevant. The danger of judging people by status, not character.
It's a powerful reminder. And Emma's confidence in her own social judgment, well, it sets her up for a pretty big fall.
Which brings us to the charade incident, the beginning of the unraveling.
Right, Mr. Elton is clearly trying to woo Emma. He's over the top, flattering her drawings, and then he writes that charade.
The one with lines like, my first display is the wealth and pomp of kings, ending with, and woman, lovely woman, reigns alone. Thy ready wit the word will soon supply. May its approval beam in that soft eye.
Pretty clear signals, you'd think.
You would. But Emma, completely convinced he's fallen for Harriet, totally misreads it.
She thinks soft eye refers to Harriet.
Yes. And she thinks the whole thing, the answer is courtship, is this grand romantic gesture towards Harriet. She even convinces herself Harriet has ready wit, despite all evidence otherwise.
Her desire for the match just completely blinds her.
It's a perfect example of that echo chamber of desire we talked about. Our own wishes, our preconceived ideas, they act like filters. We see what we want to see.
It's projection, isn't it? She's projecting her matchmaking hopes onto Elton, seeing his actions through that lens.
Exactly. And it happens all the time, not just in romance, in work, in interpreting news.
Yeah.
If something fits our narrative or boosts our ego, we latch onto it, even if the reality is totally different. Austen depicted this psychological quirk so accurately centuries ago.
Okay, so this delusion can't last forever. The bubble has to burst.
And burst it does, very abruptly, in fact, which leads us to the rather jolting revelation of Mr. Elton's true affections.
The carriage ride home, awkward.
Extremely awkward. Mr. Elton, maybe a bit tipsy, maybe just emboldened, finally declares his adoration, not for Harriet, but for Emma herself.
And she's just stunned into silence.
Completely stunned. His words are brutal in their clarity. Miss Smith. Message to Miss Smith. What could she possibly mean? Miss Woodhouse. Who can think of Miss Smith when Miss Woodhouse is near? It just demolishes her whole fantasy.
What's her reaction beyond just shock?
Well, the novel says she's in complete error, overwhelmed by unpleasant sensations. There's anger, but interestingly, it's retrospective anger, directed not just at him, but mainly at her own colossal misjudgment.
Ah, so it's turning inward. That's key.
Yes. She fumes. He had imposed on me, but he has not injured me. I have never been attached to him. And that charade she thought was so clever, now it's just a jumble without taste or truth. She sees his superficiality.
There's a real-life lesson there, isn't there? The sting of realizing you've been deeply wrong, especially when vanity was driving it.
Oh, it's profoundly uncomfortable. Humiliating even. But that pain, that humility, it's often necessary for real growth. You have to confront your own capacity for blindness, for error, before you can actually learn from it.
It's the start of her real education, in a way.
Absolutely. And just as she's reeling from this, Highbury gets another shakeup. Enter Mrs. Elton.
Right. News travels fast that Mr. Elton, wasting no time, has gone off and married a Miss Augusta Hawkins of Bath.
And her arrival just injects this completely new and, frankly, quite abrasive energy into Highbury's social scene.
She's something else, isn't she? Austen uses her brilliantly.
She really does. Mrs. Elton is almost a caricature, designed to expose the sheer performativity of social status. She's vain, pretentious.
Always dropping names. My brother, Mr. Suckling, and his estate, Maple Grove.
Constantly.
Yeah.
And talking about her family's wealth, how 2 carriages were not necessary to my happiness, implying, of course, that they could easily afford them. She basically arrives thinking she's going to show Highbury how everything ought to be arranged.
She appoints herself the town's chaperone, especially zeroing in on Jane Fairfax.
Yes, and proclaims loudly, I always take the part of my own sex. You will find me a formidable antagonist on that point. It's all noise and self-importance.
What's fascinating is how all that bragging, all that name-dropping, it actually screams insecurity, doesn't it? Rather than genuine confidence or status.
Completely. It's a classic sign. Someone who truly feels secure in their position doesn't usually need to constantly announce it. Mrs. Elton is all performance.
And it makes you think about today, too, with social media. The carefully curated lives, the constant displays of wealth or status.
Is it real connection, real worth, or is it just performing a role for likes, for validation? Austen's critique feels incredibly modern in that sense. Mrs. Elton is trying to establish authority through sheer assertion, not substance.
Okay, let's talk about Jane Fairfax then, Ms. Elton's chosen project. Jane's a really interesting, quite complex character.
She truly is, and quite tragic in many ways. She's introduced as incredibly accomplished, elegant, smart, and a brilliant musician.
Yeah.
But
no money, no fortune.
exactly. And that stark reality means her destiny is to become a governess. The book has that chilling line about it being like, offices for the sale, not quite of human flesh, but of human intellect.
Such a brutal commentary on the limited options for talented women without independent means back then.
And Mrs. Elton's patronage is just suffocating. Her efforts to find Jane a first situation, going on about wax candles in the schoolroom, it's so condescending, even though she frames it as kindness.
She completely ignores Jane's own feelings, her quiet wish to wait a bit.
Oh, totally. We must begin inquiring directly, she insists. It just highlights those harsh economic realities. Emma has privilege, independence. Jane has talent, but no choices.
It makes you think about how economics still shapes lives, doesn't it? The hidden sacrifices people make for financial security, maybe taking jobs below their ability just to get by.
It's a timeless struggle. And again, who sees Jane clearly? Mr. Knightley.
Well, of course. While Emma finds Jane reserved and a bit annoying, and Mrs. Elton patronizes her.
Knightley sees her true worth. He notes her amazing forbearance, patience, self-control, But he also notices she's reserved, more reserved than she used to be, and adds, "And I love an open temper." He senses the strain she's under, the hidden burden.
He sees the person, not just the accomplishments or the social position.
Precisely. Which brings us to the man partly responsible for that burden, Frank Churchill.
Ah, Frank.
Clever.
The charming, long-awaited visitor. He finally arrives and pretty much dazzles Highbury.
He does. Especially Emma, initially. He's full of compliments, very flirtatious. But even his charm has a slight edge, doesn't it? His remarks can be superficial, even a bit critical.
Like commenting on Jane's complexion or her hair.
Exactly. Little things that hint at something less than genuine admiration. He's a performance, too, in his own way.
But not everyone is taken in. Knightley, again.
Knightley's radar is up immediately. He observes Frank very closely, suspects some double-dealing, maybe some inclination to trifle with Jane Fairfax. He sees little signs, symptoms of intelligence between them, as he puts it.
And he gets genuinely angry when Frank pushes Jane too hard at the pianoforte, right?
Yes, he mutters, "That fellow." Thinks of nothing but showing off his own voice. This must not be. It shows Knightley's sense of fairness, his protectiveness, contrasting sharply with Frank's self-centered charm.
And didn't Knightley pick up on something during that word game with the alphabet blocks?
He did. Frank spells out the word blunder for Jane, and Knightley, who's been watching them, connects it. He links it to his earlier suspicions about a secret understanding, maybe a shared mistake or secret between them. He's piecing it together while everyone else is just enjoying Frank's company.
So the charm is hiding something significant.
Very significant.
Yeah.
The truth eventually comes out, but only after his aunt, the wealthy and demanding Mrs. Churchill, dies.
That's when he reveals the big secret.
Yes, he confesses his secret, long-standing engagement to Jane Fairfax.
Wow. And Jane herself admits how agonizing that secrecy was.
Terribly agonizing. She says something like, "Since I entered into the engagement, I have not had some happy moments, but I can say that I have never known the blessing of one tranquil hour. Just constant anxiety and stress."
And Frank admits he behaved shamefully.
He does. He owns up to the deception and the pain it caused, which really drives home the real-life implication, the sheer cost of deception.
Even if the intentions seem understandable at first, waiting for money, avoiding disapproval.
The secrecy itself becomes this immense burden. It poisons relationships, causes so much suffering. Austen draws this really clear line between genuine connection, which needs honesty, and that kind of charming but manipulative behavior Frank engages in.
Authenticity, even when it's hard, builds stronger foundations in the long run.
Absolutely. Secrecy just erodes trust. As Knightley observes about that kind of reserve,
What was the quote?
he says, "It is a most repulsive quality indeed, oftentimes very convenient, no doubt, but never pleasing. There is safety in reserve, but no attraction. One cannot love a reserved person."
Powerful words. And you are listening to Artificially Literate. If you're finding this exploration of perception, secrets, and, well, human connection interesting, do make sure to follow Artificially Literate wherever you get your podcasts.
That's right. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and also on YouTube for more deep dives into books, films, and ideas that make you think.
Okay, let's get back to Highbury and see how these tangled webs start to unravel, leading to, hopefully, some real understanding.
Indeed. And a crucial turning point for Emma, perhaps the crucial turning point, is the infamous Box Hill picnic.
Ah, Box Hill. Things go wrong there.
Terribly wrong, from Emma's perspective afterward. Our sources don't give us every detail of the picnic itself, but what's crystal clear is the profound remorse Emma feels immediately after. She calls it the wretchedness of a scheme to Box Hill.
She feels it was just a waste of time, worse than that even.
Worse than that, more completely misspent, more totally bare of rational satisfaction, and more to be abhorred in recollection than any she had ever passed. Her conscience hits her hard. She knows she was scornful, ungracious, specifically towards Miss Bates.
The harmless, endlessly talkative Miss Bates, Emma was cruel to her.
Yes, and this isn't just feeling a bit bad, it's deep shame. And it leads to a genuine resolution. She vows Miss Bates should never again, no, never, experience that from her. She decides to cultivate a regular, equal, kindly intercourse to make up for it.
And she actually does something about it, right? Sends the arrowroot.
She does. Sends arrowroot of very superior quality with a most friendly note. It's a concrete action, showing the shift from thoughtless privilege towards genuine empathy.
That really speaks to how powerful those moments of shame can be, doesn't it? When you truly confront your own bad behavior.
They could be huge catalysts for growth. Painful, yes, but powerful. It's that journey from intellectual arrogance, from just assuming you're right, to developing real empathy, real understanding. That's Emma starting to truly mature.
Recognizing your own capacity for unkindness and then actively trying to be better.
Exactly. But just as she's having this moral awakening, another blind spot gets spectacularly revealed, this time involving Harriet.
Oh, right. Harriet and her precious treasures.
Yes. Emma sees Harriet cherishing these little trinkets, a bit of court plaster, an old pencil stub, and Emma, still stuck in her own narrative, immediately assumes they're mementos from Frank Churchill.
She even thinks something like, wow, I'd never be that sentimental about something Frank Churchill touched.
Precisely. Lord bless me. When should I ever have thought of putting by in cotton a piece of court plaster that Frank Churchill had been pulling about? I never was equal to this. She's still projecting, still completely misreading Harriet's heart.
So who are the trinkets from? And how does Emma find out?
The truth comes out after that rather dramatic incident with the gypsies, where Frank Churchill happens to rescue Harriet. But it turns out Harriet wasn't treasuring reminders of Frank at all.
No. Then who?
She finally confesses. Her deep affection, her admiration, it was all for Mr. Knightley.
Knightley, because he danced with her at the ball.
Exactly. When Mr. Elton had so rudely snubbed her, Harriet says it so clearly. That was the kind action. That was the noble benevolence and generosity. That was the service which made me begin to feel how superior he was to every other being upon earth.
Wow. That must have hit Emma like a ton of bricks.
Oh, complete utter confusion. The book describes her experiencing much inward suffering because in that single moment, she realizes two devastating things. How wrong she was about Harriet's feelings and who she herself truly loves. It all becomes blindingly clear right then.
It's amazing how that highlights the power of genuine kindness, isn't it? Not flashy gestures, but consistent, decent behavior like Knightley's. That's what truly builds connection.
Absolutely. Knightley's steady, quiet respect versus Frank's surface charm. No contest in the end. And this revelation forces Emma into her own final, crucial self-discovery.
The realization about Knightley.
Yes, she has to understand, thoroughly understand her own heart. She starts comparing Frank and Knightley in her mind, looking back honestly.
Yeah, what does she see?
She sees that there never had been a time when she did not consider Mr. Knightley as infinitely the superior, or when his regard for her had not been infinitely the most dear.
It was him all along.
All along. She realizes she had been entirely under a delusion, totally ignorant of her own heart, and, in short, that she had never really cared for Frank Churchill at all. Just, wow, a total epiphany.
And suddenly the thought of losing Knightley, maybe to Harriet.
It fills her with absolute terror, intense anxiety. She finally understands how much her happiness depends on being first with Mr. Knightley, first in interest and affection.
Though she still worries about her father, right? Her duty versus her desire.
Yes, even then, her first thought is she would not marry, even if she were asked by Mr. Knightley, because of her duty to her father. It shows how ingrained that responsibility is, but also how far she's come in understanding her own heart's desire.
It's that whole journey of self-knowledge, isn't it? Often kicked off by a crisis, peeling back the layers of who you think you are or who you perform as.
To find out who you actually are, what you actually feel, confronting those past mistakes, especially the ones driven by vanity like Emma's, it leads to a much deeper, more honest understanding of yourself, stripping away the delusion.
Okay, so Emma knows her heart. How do things resolve for everyone else in Highbury? Do we get the classic Austen happy endings?
We do, mostly. And they feel earned this time. First, Frank and Jane. Their engagement is finally public.
Such a relief for Jane, surely, after all that secret suffering.
Immense relief. Months of penance and mortification, as the book calls it. And Frank does properly confess his shameful behavior in hiding it, acknowledging the pain he caused. So there's resolution there.
And Harriet, does she get her happy ending?
She does, and appropriately so. Knightley, being Knightley, subtly helps clarify things with Mr. Martin.
The farmer Emma originally dismissed.
The very same. And Harriet, now free from Emma's misguided influence, happily accepts his proposal. And Emma's reaction is key.
What does she say?
She expresses genuine happiness for them. Reflecting on her past interference, she says simply, "I hope so, for at that time I was a fool."
That's huge growth, admitting she was a fool.
Isn't it just real humility? And then, of course, the main event, Emma and Mr. Knightley.
Their resolution feels right. Earned.
It does. His love for her, gentle, steady, seeing her flaws but loving her anyway, is confirmed. And she fully reciprocates. He even shows his own growth, admitting he can now see Harriet's good qualities, now that Emma sees them too.
Theirs isn't some whirlwind romance. It feels like a true partnership.
Exactly. A union of the highest promise of felicity, built on mutual respect, shared values, and, crucially, mutual growth. He challenged her, helped her become better,
And they even solved the Mr. Woodhouse problem.
ingeniously, by promising Emma isn't leaving Hartfield and Mr. Knightley will move in, being always at hand. It soothes his fears of change.
It really emphasizes that ideal of a partnership, doesn't it? Based on understanding, respect, helping each other grow, not just surface attraction or social games.
That's the enduring beauty of it. A love that acknowledges flaws but encourages improvement, honesty over flattery.
And that final realization for Emma is just so complete. She saw that there never had been a time when she did not consider Mr. Knightley as infinitely the superior, or when his regard for her had not been infinitely the most dear. She saw that in persuading herself and fancying and acting to the contrary, she had been entirely under a delusion, totally ignorant of her own heart, and in short, that she had never really cared for Frank Churchill at all.
What a journey. Through all that vanity, self-deception, those terrible misjudgments, Emma finally arrives at a clear, authentic understanding of herself. And she learns the real value of genuine human connection.
It definitely reminds you that sometimes the people who challenge you the most are the ones who help you grow the most.
Absolutely.
Ah.
And that maybe our biggest triumphs aren't about being right all the time, but about recognizing our own imperfections and actually trying to do better.
Well, we hope this deep dive into Jane Austen's Emma has given you all some things to think about, maybe some surprising insights, and helped you feel just a little more artificially literate in navigating the complexities of life and relationships.
Thank you so much for listening to Artificially Literate today.
Yes, thank you. We really invite you to check out our other deep dives. Follow us so you don't miss future topics, and please stay tuned for the next book, film, or idea we decide to explore.
Until then, remember,
Feed your brain, starve your inner fool.